Police say a babysitter is caught on camera abusing a disabled child in Lexington. Now the video has led to the sitter's arrest.
The Southeast is bracing for Hurricane Matthew as the deadly storm continues to cause problems in the Caribbean.
How a Lincoln County businessman who was killed in a Pulaski County fire is being remembered.
This is WKYT News at 5.
Shocking video appearing to show a nanny abusing a special needs child in Lexington, and now that nanny has been arrested.
The little boy's family says they started noticing something wasn't right with their son, and that's when they put up a hidden camera. But they weren't prepared for what they saw. WKYT's Victor Puente shows us the video in our top story at 5.
The video this family took shows their son being pulled across the floor. Today, the woman who was supposed to be caring for him was arraigned on a charge of second-degree criminal abuse. That video was taken by a nanny cam the child's mother put in their home. Tiffany Fields' 4-year-old son, Luke, has Down syndrome, epilepsy, and heart defects.
Now look here, you little. This is what we're going to do. And we're going to do it my way.
That video was taken Friday. Yesterday, Lexington police arrested Lillian White and charged her with second-degree criminal abuse. At her arraignment this afternoon, her attorney entered a not guilty plea for her. The attorney for Luke's mother says White was hired to take care of the child every Friday back in June. Luke requires constant supervision. They say once White began taking care of him, his behavior changed, which led to his mother placing that camera.
Well, Luke had always been a very loving child, had always been the type of child that liked to be held by his mother, and suddenly all of that changed, and that caused Tiffany to become very concerned.
After the hearing, both White and her attorney said they had no comment on these charges. In Lexington, Victor Puente, WKYT.
Golden says they are looking into the liability on the part of White's employer. He also says doctors are now examining Luke to see if he has any permanent damage. South Carolina's governor says she plans to evacuate 1 million people as a powerful hurricane heads towards the U.S.
And check out Hurricane Matthew on our first alert defender right there behind us. The National Hurricane Center has now issued a hurricane watch for South Florida as well. To get ready for the storm, drivers in Florida are lining up for gas, boarding up their homes, and stocking up on supplies. As the hurricane roars north, people in Haiti are still feeling its impact. It hit the poor island overnight as a powerful Category 4 storm. Matthew could end up dumping up to 40 inches of rain in some areas. At least 7 people have been killed by the storm, including 3 children. Mark Strassman is in Jamaica with the latest.
Torrential rains and more than 130-mile-per-hour winds slammed into Haiti. Roads became rivers in the poorest nation in the Western Hemisphere. Across the island in Santo Domingo, Dominican Republic, the deluge dropped sheets of rain, forcing cars to drive through floods. Jamaica is also feeling the effects of Matthew. This road was washed away in a mudslide. Across the eastern coast of Cuba, people were urged to head for higher ground. More than 300,000 people have reportedly been evacuated.
We can expect to see impacts on Florida beginning Wednesday and through Saturday.
Florida Governor Rick Scott is taking no chances, declaring a state of emergency.
You must leave before it's too late. We can rebuild a home and we can rebuild a business, but we cannot rebuild your life.
North Carolina Governor Pat McCrory also declared a state of emergency for 66 counties.
We can't gamble, and we won't gamble with people's lives and the livelihood of many people up and down the coast.
If Matthew tears into Cuba, it could force the relocation of detainees at Guantanamo Bay. But the focus today is Haiti, the island least equipped to handle a disaster like this. Mark Strassman, CBS News, Kingston, Jamaica.
Hurricane Matthew is not expected to have a big impact on our weather here in Kentucky.
Yeah, we are looking at a beautiful week before big changes for the weekend. Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey is in the First Alert Weather Center talking about frost.
No, let's not get too crazy, but that is at least a possibility. That's way into early next week. Let's concentrate on what's going on right now, though, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, because we were just talking about our tropical system that is out there, and this is Matthew, and it has winds of 140 miles an hour. It's a Category 4 storm, and this storm is going to head into the Bahamas and will eventually impact the east coast of Florida as we go through the next several days. Updated forecast from the National Hurricane Center. We are talking about a Category 4 hurricane that, again, brushes that east coast of Florida and then arcs its way into parts of the Carolinas as we make our way into the weekend. So a track like that may try to throw a little cloud cover into eastern Kentucky, and I've got a brand new computer model and an hour-by-hour outlook that I'm putting together right now. Coming up in a little bit, we will show you how it tries to actually bring a little tropical moisture now into southeastern Kentucky. Very interesting late afternoon developments with some of those models. Nothing out there now, upper 70s to low 80s across most of central and eastern Kentucky. When I come back in a few minutes, guys, we'll continue to focus on the good and with Matthew and let you know what impact that has on the weekend forecast.
Chris, thank you. An early morning fire that swept through a southern Kentucky home killed an elderly man and injured his girlfriend. It happened on Kentucky 635 in Pulaski County. That home is a total loss. WKYT's Phil Pendleton has more on the loss being felt by the man's family.
The fire broke out around 5 o'clock this morning. I'm told that 87-year-old Wilgen Ace Hale and his girlfriend Becky were asleep inside. She was able to get up and to get out of the house. He was close behind, but was simply not able to, and I'm told was overcome by the smoke.
They both tried to get out the front door. Unfortunately, it was jammed. She went out the back door and tried to get him out of the front door from the outside and wasn't able to get the door down quick enough to be able to get him out.
The coroner pronounced the 87-year-old dead at the scene. His granddaughter says Hale did not let his age slow him down, but some recent health issues may have made getting out of the smoke-filled home difficult.
Just a few minutes after 5, we were dispatched to the fire here at this residence. At that time, there was residents. The structure was fully involved with fire upon our arrival.
There is no word yet on a cause, but Leffler questions if an electrical issue is to blame, because she says her grandfather's girlfriend did say they had recently had some trouble in turning on the lights in the downstairs area. Wilgen Ace Hale ran a car lot in Lincoln County, and he went to work every single day. Much more on his life from those that knew him best coming up at 6 o'clock. But for now, in Pulaski County, Phil Pendleton, WKYT.
Both state police and the fire marshal are investigating the cause of the fire, which is standard procedure in deadly fires. A young man who died months after being shot outside a Lexington bar was buried today. Skylar Ray died last week at a hospital in Rockcastle County. He was seriously injured in May when he was shot outside Saddle Ridge on South Broadway. Police charged Leslie Parson with assault for the shooting. They've not said if that charge will be upgraded.
A southern Kentucky man is in jail after police say he was found with a missing child. George Metters is charged with unlawful transaction with a minor. The Williamsburg Police Department says that someone called about Metters and a missing child driving into the city. Police pulled over Metters and found the child.
Investigators in Woodford County have now identified a young man killed in a late-night crash. We had that breaking news last night at 11. The coroner says 24-year-old Darnell Hernandez from Lexington died at the scene. State police say 23-year-old Ashley Ishmael caused the crash on Leestown Road near the Scott County line. Police say it is too early to say if she will be facing charges. A Kentucky man is accused of murder in Iowa. Arthur Crum was arrested in Montgomery County. He's charged in the shooting death of Larry Scott. Scott's body was found August 30th near some train tracks in Council Bluffs, Iowa. Police say he was shot to death. Crum is now waiting extradition.
A 76-year-old woman shot a 36-year-old man this morning in Clay County. And that begins our county-by-county coverage here at 5 o'clock. This morning's shooting happened on Curry Branch Road. State police say that 76-year-old Cora Turner shot 36-year-old Frederick Feltner during an argument at Turner's house. Feltner was taken to the hospital with only minor injuries. State police say they plan on presenting the case to a grand jury. Police in Hardin County want to hear from anyone who may have run into a man now charged with impersonating an officer. Brian Palmersham was arrested last week. He's also charged with improper use of red and blue lights. This is a picture of the SUV police say he was driving while acting like an officer. They want to hear from anyone who Palmersham might have pulled over.
The two men hoping to become the next vice president of the United States will take the stage tonight for their first and only debate. Weijia Jiang is in Farmville, Virginia, where the excitement in the tiny community is building.
Governor Mike Pence arrived at Longwood University to scope out the stage for tonight's vice presidential debate.
You'll see in Mike Pence somebody who's able to defend Donald Trump, the running mate, but at the same time take the case right to Hillary Clinton.
Pence will face off against Virginia Senator Tim Kaine, who is working with the home field advantage.
Tim Kaine's always been a big friend of Longwood and has spoken here many a times and things like that. So it worked out great that Tim Kaine can just drive an hour from his home and head on down. But
Ryan Stouffer teaches political science at Longwood and says tonight's debate likely won't impact the race for the White House.
I'd like to say it matters, and I think it does matter on one hand. On the other hand, you saw, 80 million people tuned in last Monday, and I'm sure we're going to have half that tuned in tonight.
Nearly a third of the 300 or so tickets to the debate went to Longwood University students. They, along with locals, say the showdown puts their close-knit community on the map.
This is America's first chance to really see these two guys go at it, and to see that in person is a pretty awesome experience.
26-year-old Den Crawley was born and raised in Farmville. The rural Virginia town is decked out in red, white, and blue. It's even serving up sugar cane sodas and pumpkin Pence lattes.
We're a pretty sleepy little town, and to have, the eyes of the world on us, it's pretty exciting.
An estimated 50 million people are expected to tune in. Weijia Jiang, CBS News, Farmville, Virginia.
Elaine Keano of the CBSN Digital Network will be tonight's moderator. You can see the debate tonight at 9 right here on WKYT.
The Kentucky League of Women Voters has canceled its U.S. Senate debate after Senator Rand Paul decided not to participate. Lexington Mayor Jim Gray had accepted the invitation to the debate at UK, which was to air here on WKYT.
We are always disappointed when candidates are not willing to participate in our forums or debates. This is an excellent way for candidates to get their message out to the voters, and it's a real loss to voters when they don't participate.
Senator Paul did agree to appear with Gray on KET on October 31st. Back in 2010, he and then Attorney General Jack Conway debated 5 times.
Some of golf's greatest turning out to say goodbye to the king, paying respects to Arnold Palmer in 9 minutes.
And the tattoos are temporary, but a Kentucky artist hoping the impact they have on these children lasts a lifetime.
Your hour-by-hour forecast with Chief Meteorologist Chris Bailey.
It's windy, it is warm, it is very nice fall weather across central and eastern Kentucky, and it's all eyes on the tropics. It's a busy setup, believe it or not, even as it's calm around here. Let's get into it. Lots to talk about. Short time to do it. And WKYT Weather Garden in the background, looking good. Temperature right at 80 degrees right now. Humidity 45%. Winds coming at us from the southeast at 7. Upper 70s to around 80, depending on exactly where you are. Those temperatures really very nice for this time of year. So we go from way above to way below. And now we're back to a little above. Defender Radar Network quiet across Kentucky, quiet across the entire Ohio Valley. Rolling our way into tomorrow. Think you like today? Think you're going to like tomorrow. Right at 80 again for a high temperature, mix of sun and some clouds. Hour by hour forecast. We'll keep this on the short term. They've got a little greater view for a hour by hour coming up here in just a moment. That does try to show a little tropical moisture. Tomorrow afternoon, similar to what we had today with a couple of showers, notice this little band of some showers trying to pop into central Kentucky. Now, this same forecast model yesterday really did a good job in pinpointing a couple of isolated showers today. So there's a chance for an isolated shower tomorrow. Most areas stay dry. That'll take us into the day on Friday as well. Latest data is in 140 miles per hour, Category 4, down 5 miles per hour because of the interaction with land here from Cuba over toward the Dominican and parts of Haiti. Heading toward the Bahamas as a Category 4 hurricane. That's going to cause some major damage into the Bahamas. And the track on that, again, is much closer now to the east coast of Florida. And depending on which model you look at, some take that into the east coast of Florida, some hang it just offshore and then curving it toward the Carolinas and eventually, look at that, winding up just off of New England. New hour by hour is in from the NAM forecast model. I want to show you something. Here's what it has with our tropical system. This isn't necessarily a tropical computer model, all right? But watch what happens out ahead of this. 8 o'clock Friday, look at the tropical moisture that is indirectly associated with our hurricane. But look at how this now tries to bring some of that across the mountains into eastern Kentucky Friday night into early Saturday as our hurricane is bearing down on this model on Myrtle Beach. So indeed, it is showing now eastern Kentucky for the first time with a little bit of rain coming indirectly from our hurricane that is off the Carolina coastline by Friday night. So that's another little bag of tricks that Mother Nature is trying to throw our way, and something we have to watch for in the coming days. Cold front then blasts in here on Saturday. Everybody with a chance for a shower or thunderstorm. Temperatures take a dive. There you see those upper 30s, possible early next week. Really, guys, the weekend forecast early next week, highly dependent on what exactly happens with Hurricane Matthew. Tropical systems, obviously, they dictate the weather. They're the bully on the block. They're the biggest, baddest boy in the playground right now, and so that will eventually dictate what happens around here. But that storm, not one to mess with.
Yeah, a lot of people bracing for some really bad weather.
Yeah.
We've got the good stuff
Yeah,
here.
Carolinas to Florida on guard.
Thanks, Chris. A Kentucky couple's 5 children in someone else's care tonight after what police say they found inside that family's home.
Thousands of people turned out for Arnold Palmer's memorial today, including some of the world's greatest golfers.
Phil Mickelson and most of the U.S. Ryder Cup team were on hand at St. Vincent's College Basilica in Pennsylvania to celebrate Palmer's life. His family wanted a public service to be held after the Ryder Cup, which the Americans won on Sunday. Known as the King, Palmer racked up 62 PGA Tour wins and 7 major championships during his career. He died in late September at the age of 87.
A London, Kentucky tattoo artist is spreading his love of ink to children in the hospital. The tattoos are temporary, but to this artist, the impact is permanent. Monique Blair has the story you'll only see on WKYT.
Brad Mallory and his crew of tattoo artists are in Kentucky Children's Hospital to lift some spirits in a different way.
Hi, Sarah. How you doing? My name's Brad. It's nice to meet you. We're going to do some tattoos for you today. You want a tattoo?
Of course, she said yes.
What we're going to do with this right here is we're going to draw a horse.
I know what you're thinking at home. Don't worry, it's temporary.
So it'll be sitting right on top of your hand. Just don't touch it, okay?
This is Joyce Vanover, Sarah's mom. She says they've been in here since Friday. Sarah is having some heart and kidney problems. Joyce thinks this is a fun distraction for her 11-year-old.
It's something different. I've never heard of it before, but hey, I like it. It gets their mind off their sickness. It makes them think about something other than being sick.
Like most tattoos, this one has a special meaning behind it.
I'm kind of just going with it. It's pretty cool.
It reminds Sarah of her late father.
They called him Horse Trader. He loves horses, you know, and every time she sees a horse, she thinks about her dad.
So what do you think? You like it?
It gives them a little ray of sunshine while they're here in the hospital.
Sarah is going to make this temporary tat last as long as she can. The good news, her stay is also temporary. She'll be going home today. In Lexington, Monique Blair, WKYT.
Well, Brad Mallory and his tattoo crew are also looking for children who will be in the hospital long term so they can come back with gifts during the holiday season.
Suspicious barrels dumped near some Lexington businesses causing some concern today. What investigators say was inside, coming up at 5:30.
It is time now for better living, health, education, and consumer news that impacts your life. Some airlines are letting passengers change travel plans without penalty if their trip might be affected by Hurricane Matthew. United Airlines will waive change fees and any difference in fare for customers scheduled to fly Wednesday through Friday to, from, or through 5 airports in Florida. Delta Airlines is waiving change fees on trips through Wednesday in the Caribbean and through Thursday at 8 to Florida destinations, although differences in the fare would still apply. American Airlines says says it will waive change fees on trips scheduled through Thursday in several Caribbean nations, including Cuba. Those unplanned stops for cash at the ATM might be blowing your budget. After 10 straight years of increases, the average fee for using an out-of-network ATM is now more than $4.50. That's an all-time record high, according to Bankrate. If you do the math, that means withdrawing $50 will cost you 9% in fees. One financial analyst says as long as you don't use an out-of-network machine routinely, it's not going to make or break you, but suggests using a debit card or your bank's app to help find nearby in-network ATMs instead. Congress is still looking for answers as to why the cost of EpiPens have skyrocketed. In a letter to Mylan's CEO, the top members of the House Oversight Committee called on Mylan to hand over information on EpiPen's profit margins. The CEO testified before the committee last month, saying Mylan makes about $50 per pen on the 2-pack, which costs just over $600. But the Washington Post reports that the pre-tax EpiPen profits is more like $80 per pen. Mylan has been under fire for raising the price of the EpiPen 2-pack by about $500 since 2007. If you are already thinking about Thanksgiving, take a look at Martha Stewart's meal kit delivery service. It's called Martha and Marley's Spoon. You'll get Martha's favorite Thanksgiving recipes and ingredients in a box, but you'll have to do the slicing, dicing, and baking. The turkey dinner in a box costs about $179. Now, here's what's coming up for you at 5:30.